I'm used to Stanley Nyeringita, and as you can see, the ambience around us, maneno ya miti. President William Ruto is urging us as Kenyans to make sure that we plant 15 billion trees by the year 2032. We are a number of years to that particular year, so the big question is, as a country, are we still pushing on to make sure that we plant 15 billion trees? And if so, what can we do to ensure that we actually do the same? And we're in Kirinyaga today, joined by Mwalimu Kuria Mbugwa. Amesema lazima kukuna mwalimu. He'll be telling us how many years he's been teaching people about this and if it's working. Thank you very much, sir, for accommodating us hapa. First off, even as you also tell us who is Mwalimu, 15 million trees by 2032. In 2024, do you think that's a bit too much? Are we in the right direction?
Okay, thank you. Hello, viewers. My name is Mwalimu Kuria Mbugwa, as you have said. I work here at Agitech Seedlings. I'm the manager, agroforestry and livestock production in this particular unit. And at Agitech Seedlings, our core business is to propagate horticultural seedlings. But we saw it a need to also start this particular unit that it deals with fruit trees and all the trees that grow in tropical Africa. So as you can see, right now we are in Agitech Tree Nursery Department, where we have got different types of fruit tree seedlings varieties. And besides fruit trees, we also do medicinal trees. We are also doing a lot of herbs in the same unit. You can also see bananas in the same unit. And still, we also do fodder for livestock. And to climax it all, we also have an ornamental section because people need homes that are beautiful. Yes. So we have flowers of all nature. So welcome once again. We go through the journey. Yes. How does the tree start? Yes. For you to carry it from Agitech nurseries and then you take it to your home for planting. Right. Yes.
So even as we get into that, the question on 15 billion trees by 2032, yes. Looking at where we are at the moment, it's about 8 years to 2032. Do you think we're in the right progress as someone who has much experience in this, has trained other people?
Yeah, that one is doable. It is very doable because if all of us can take an initiative, like what Agitech has done, we establish very many nurseries, which are professionally managed. I think it is very doable. By 2030, we shall be able to do the 15 billion tree seedlings. Right. And not just seedlings, we look at the trees of value. And that is why we have talked about fruit tree seedlings, medicinal trees. We also have herbs, we have bananas, because all these are culminating to one thing, that we need to take care of carbon emissions in the environment. Okay. And the only way we can do that is to consume or to eradicate the emissions as much as possible by planting as many trees as possible.
How long has this nursery been in existence, Mwalimu?
This is our third year since we started this nursery. Okay. But the uptake of trees is very high. So far, I think we have disbursed more than 300,000 seedlings from this particular unit.
That means people are really intent on planting
People
trees.
Have taken it up. Okay. Yes.
When they come in, do they understand the kind of tree they want in mind, or now as Mwalimu and your staff, they get to sit down with them and explain to them, this is the kind of tree that you're going to get?
Normally, when a customer comes here, the first question we ask, where do you come from? Okay. Because we must understand first, yes. In that particular environment, which varieties of trees can do well. That is one thing. You must understand the environment in which that tree is going to be planted. So our customers come with their need, but after a discussion, sometimes you also change the menu, what he had come to collect, okay, because of where he comes from. Yeah.
Right. I'm seeing you're holding an orange. What kind of an orange is that?
This one is called Washington Navel.
Washington
Navel.
Okay.
And where you are, those seedlings behind you are all seedlings of Washington Navel.
Right.
Yes.
Next time I'm going to the shop, I'm going to say, I want a Washington Navel.
Yes.
So as people watching us this morning, they're probably even having this for breakfast. You know, they're squeezing it and having an orange juice, but they don't really understand the process of up to where it is on their plate. Help us understand from the seed, because now on the whole right side of where I am standing, there are a number of seeds there. Help us understand that whole process until we get to see it on the plate.
Okay. To answer you, I think that particular bit is a bit technical.
Okay.
And when we talk about the technical bit is because in a tree nursery establishment, we have two major zones.
Okay.
We have a zone called the red zone and another one called the green zone. So the red zone is where we have the planting media. It can either be soil, it can be pumice, it can even be peat moss. These are substances we use to anchor the trees in the pots.
Okay.
So in the red zone, we ensure that the soil to be used is properly sterilized. It is disease-free. And in that case, for example, here in Kirinyaga, because it's a bit hot in Mwea, we usually do soranization so that we kill all the germs in our soils. Then from there, we do the potting. After the pots are done, we plant the seeds. Once the seeds are planted and they have germinated, they are brought to the green zone. That is why you can see everything here is green. So this is the green zone now for growing the seedlings. When, for example, a seedling like this one of Washington reaches a certain size, we start with the mother, the root stock. The root stocks are normally sought from plants of the same family that are resistant to diseases. They are also heavy feeders. They are able to collect food from the soil.
Interesting.
And again, they are not susceptible to many environmental diseases. So like here, for you to get an Washington Navel, we use the ordinary lemon as the mother stock or the root stock.
Okay.
Then after the lemon is grown for about 1.5 foot, we now insert, we come with a zion for the Washington Navel now. The zion may not necessarily be found here. We even import, sometimes because we want to retain the best genes out of the plant we want. So we do what we call professional grafting.
Okay.
Grafting is a process whereby we enjoin two particular seedlings, but of the same, sharing the same genes. Mm-hmm. We say of the same family.
Right.
So, for example, the citrus family, lemon is a citrus.
Yes.
Washington is also a citrus.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, the zion from the Washington is inserted through grafting into the lemon.
Okay.
Then from there, it is properly tied and fastened, as you can see on that particular one.
Yes.
With the tape, the grafting tape.
Yes.
Then we wait for it for about 4 months.
Okay.
It gets properly infused. Mm-hmm. The zion and the mother and the rootstock now gets properly infused. Mm-hmm. After that, it shoots.
All right.
It will stay in the nursery for 6 months.
Mm-hmm. It
is ready for farmers to come and pick and go and plant in the particular farms.
Okay.
Yes.
That
is basically the process of grafting. Okay. And mostly what you can see, even this avocado, this is Hass avocado, which is actually grafted from the original avocado called Puebla. The ones that are known to be very big and huge, but they produce very few fruits. But they are heavy feeders, the roots are extensive, they anchor properly on the ground. Right. So we bring the zion for us, we insert in the Puebla. Then after 6 months, they are ready to be collected by the farmers. Okay. So the farmer will take it and go and plant. Right. So the zions are selected from plants that are heavy producers. You don't just go and pick anyhow. You must look at the production level of that particular zion. Right. Yes.
This place is quite muddy, Mwalimu.
Yes.
It speaks of the high intake of water. for this for the nursery of this seedlings here.
Yeah.
Tell us about that as well, and for maybe as a farmer or someone who's interested in also planting, why should I know how much, maybe either for the let's say Hass avocado, how much water intake it should have?
That's a very good question. One, I always ask farmers when they come here, how many gallons of water do you have? Not the acreage. Acreage does not matter. In farming, we look at the amount of water that one should have. So one, these trees will only survive when there is water. And that is one of the mistakes we do during the public campaigns for tree planting.
Yes.
We mobilize people on public holidays. We go and plant a lot of trees.
Yes.
But after that, nobody will ever come back to water. So in 3 months' time, all the trees have dried. So the tree requires to be watered at least twice per week.
Does it depend on the type of tree?
It depends on the type of tree, but mainly it requires that wetness on the ground for sustainability. So once you plant a fruit seedling, definitely you need to water it so that we can be able to sustain it to maturity.
Right.
No watering, at one level it is going to peel off and dry.
Right.
Yeah.
You've mentioned the whole public, gathering of people and making sure that wamepanda. Yes. And now that's really where, after before we jump gun into the whole watering, let's focus on now the kupanda aspect of it. And we have mwenye amekuja akasema, mimi pali naishi, I do have a lot of water. I stay in where there's frequent rainfall, for example, and anataka maybe avocado, machungwa. They'd want a sample of different fruit trees. So the question for them would, one, are they able to if they probably have a quarter an acre, are they able to mix these fruits in this quarter an acre? And two, how is the spacing and how do they dig and make sure they center and measure whatever they're planting? Yes.
That one is easy because even that 1 quarter, you can either do a pure line or a pure stud, where if you decide I'm going to do oranges, you do pure oranges. I'm going to do avocado, you do pure avocado. But because of the diminishing sizes of our land, and the farmer wants a variety, sometimes you find a farmer picks one avocado, has avocado, he picks an orange, for example, a pixie or a tangerine. He picks, for example, a fig. Yeah, he picks a mango. He picks a sawsop. All these are different trees. You find in a compound we have about 6 varieties because this is for consumption, domestic consumption. But for commercial purposes, you need either you do a pure line because you are dealing with many fruit seedlings. Yeah.
Right. As someone who obviously teaches other people, you have noticed in so many households, people have planted trees around as wanatumia kama fence, ama they just have it, supplement it with the fence that they have. What are some of these things people do with trees that you find is very, very wrong?
You see, people are missing a point. Because one, before you plant that tree, ask yourself, why do I need it? Why am I planting? Am I planting it for fuel, wood fuel? Am I planting it for fruits? Or am I planting it for shade? You must get a purpose first. But you find that when you don't have the know-how or the idea why you ever wanted to plant the tree, most farmers, you find that they either plant in the wrong places, in the wrong positions in the compound, unstructured, and at one time you find them uprooting or cutting them down because they are misplaced. So planning of the compound is also very important. Planning of the farm is also very important for future development, because this tree takes time to reach where it is. The tree takes time to reach where it is. For example, this Washington, for it to give you a fruit, you'll have kept it for about 2 years. Okay. So if you plant it where you will do a zero grazing unit for your livestock next year, before you even get the fruit, you'll have cut it down. Okay. So planning of land is very important. Okay. So for us to sustain the forest cover, the 10% of your acreage as the government says.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even speak about even planning this land.
Yes.
I've had conversations with people who are planning to build or have actually built their palatial homes in places like Kitengela, Mlolongo, some of these places. And this person built, or rather planted the trees before they started building the house.
Exactly.
So, and these people would tell me that, and I've seen on the foundation, this tree ilikuwa kubwa.
Yes.
So the roots, they interfere with the house.
Penetrated.
But for someone who is, right now they're watching us and they're planning to start building the house somewhere in whatever the country is, advise us on that bit. How do you, first of all, how do you measure the distance between this tree where it's going to be planted for whatever purpose and the foundation of the house?
I think that one depends on the purpose and the structure and the size of your development. Because one may decide to put commercial flats, and they will take a big space. So if you are planning for that, ensure that at least you are not less than 20 meters from where the main building is. So that later you can encroach slowly with the trees nearing the where you have developed. But the moment you haphazardly put up or plant trees, definitely you find yourself uprooting when the food comes to measure the area to construct, which is actually it is not, you will feel, because probably that tree had matured and now you want to bring it down. Unless you had planted it purposely for wood, where maybe you will chop wood and then use it for construction. If it is for shade purpose, for fruits, I think you need to plant properly. Yeah.
Mwalimu, as an expert in this, I don't know if you've ever interacted with Wangari Maathai. If so, during her time, I was pretty young at that time, but I hear some, her stories, even watch on TV how even as a country we had the urge of, for cutting trees, it was a very big sin. Do you think right now we have somewhat forgotten about that? We have normalized deforestation.
I think after the passing on of Professor, people forgot about the Greenbelt business. Because if you look at the rate at which trees are being destroyed, because I will not say they are being cut down, they are being destroyed. Walk along the Nakuru Highway, Kenale Forest, you can see the damage loggers are doing to our natural forests. Walk along the Gakoe Forest, you can also see a lot of damage going on. Name Mau, Juzi, the government is even trying to evict people from the forest so that they can maintain the forest because of the forest cover. But as human beings, we don't want to get out. That is ignorance of the highest order, because that the catchment areas are the ones which provide us with running rivers. When we destroy, where are we heading? We will get dry valleys, and then we started running to the government. We don't have water. Right. So we need to protect our water towers, and these are mainly the forests.
Right. We are on, what you're saying is we are own enemies when it comes to the climate change.
We are our own enemies when it comes to climate change. Okay. We are our own enemies. Right. Because right now, every adult who is 18 years and above should have at least planted 5 trees since the government started a campaign. But if I may ask you yourself, how many have you planted?
I think I've planted about 10 of them.
At least you are on track. You are on track.
I definitely love this. And sorry to cut short, even as you continue. Yes. These are things we were taught in school. I remember being taught about deforestation, agroforestation, yes, reforestation, and all that. But then, as human beings, when we grow, the need and the human population surplus. You'd find 10 years ago, an area like this one, there are not so many people around here, yes, and there's so many trees. Yes. But then the fact that there's a surplus of human population, there's need now to create homes. As a country, how do we balance that? Because at the end of the day, we'd need to create homes for the human population that is increasing, but then we still need to also maintain our trees. How do we balance this as a country?
I think the policymakers who are up there in government should come up with very stringent measures. For example, we need to zone the areas where we need to plant trees. I like one policy that was introduced that every homestead, 10% of your land should be covered with a forest.
What does that mean? If someone is listening to that, they're trying to understand, yes. I have a quarter an acre.
Yes.
What is 10%?
10% of that quarter should at least cover some trees, okay. Even if it is 3 or 4 trees, okay. So long as it is your 10%, okay. To be in line with that policy. Ensure that 1 quarter of yours, you have planted maybe 4 fruit trees. Right. They will still suffice.
You talk about stringent. Does this mean, do you suggest for fine, maybe if someone has interfered to that?
Sure. Even if we don't go that way, that direction, I think we are headed the wrong direction. Because if you look at the carelessness in which human beings are displaying as far as cutting down of trees is concerned, I think we need to revisit those ancient days. For example, during the colonial times, if you plant coffee, you could not uproot until the chief gives you a letter to do that.
All right.
Some of these rules should be enforced so that we can have a green environment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And the young people, I mean, like us, we are listening to this and we are shocked. Yes. Because we are often told that our future is for ours, it's the future. But for climate change, it doesn't really wait until then.
It will not wait because it will judge us harshly.
Do you think the young people like us really understand the impact of what you're talking about?
Well, these are things that needs to be taught even in our schools. In fact, forestry should be part of the curriculum so that this child who gets into grade 1, will grow knowing that planting trees is very important. By the time he becomes an adult, he knows even where and when to plant. We have got so many primary schools with extensive amounts of land idle. These kids should be taught how to develop small forests in their own compound. So they go home. At least they will also urge the parents to follow suit. Every child in school should adopt a tree. In fact, we should have a campaign, adopt a tree campaign, that every child in any school, be it be primary, secondary, or even tertiary institutions, colleges, at least 1 tree per child. That way, it will be very easy for us to achieve the 15 billion. Instead of occupying the streets, let us occupy the idle land so that we can plant as many trees as possible.
The people in the semi-arid lands, northeastern regions, they don't receive the amount of rainfall that other areas in the country would receive. Yeah. They really want to be part of this, adopt a tree. But, I mean, they'd go to what you're saying. You'd plant a tree today, and the next 3 months, it's dried up. In some of these areas that don't have enough water supply, what should they do?
I think God was very generous to us. Because whatever region he gave you, he gave it a natural environment. If you go to Northeastern, there are those trees that do very well in Northeastern. For example, the acacia family. Recently, we had the issues of the Madege bush in Tana River. When it was introduced, that place was entirely a desert. But if you go to areas like Ibura, you go to areas like the Delta, Tana Delta, you find that the whole place is covered with very beautiful trees. Every region has its own variety of trees that does best there. Yeah. So we cannot say that we will not plant trees because that area is hot or this area is very cold. You find in cold areas, there are trees for cold areas. In hot areas, there are trees for hot areas. So we cannot give any excuse as far as that one is concerned. Right. Yes.
Mwalimu, we've been in a forestry class today, and you've beautifully taken us through from the start. And I know as a teacher, there's always ile unakumbusha wanafunzi. Just to reiterate, leo tumesoma nini? And for the viewers, because the viewers are now our students, just to reiterate to them the process herein and the takeaway homes that they need to remember before I get your philosophical words as an experienced person. Yes.
We are saying, and this should be our anthem now, every adult, 18 years and above, should adopt a tree. We have a voter's card. Make that tree your voter's card. That if you don't have a voter's card, you cannot participate in an election. So this time round, our tree should be the voter's card. Tunauliza mtu, have you planted a tree? Then take the queue, go and vote. That should be the whatever, the policy. Because we are 50 million now.
And rising.
Every year, 50 million trees are planted by that voter. Every year, 50 million trees. How many years will it take us to cover the 15 billion? Very few years, the whole Kenya will be green.
It might even take lesser than the 8 years
This
that
is
we're
it.
targeting.
This is it.
Okay.
Yeah. So let us take it our own responsibility. Adopt a tree, like the voter's card. Yes.
I love that tagline. Adopt a tree like the voter's card. Right. Any more last words, Mwalimu, before we wrap it up? Any last words? And also just a reminder, because just to tell them where they can get these trees.
That is where I was coming from. So our viewers, if you want to plant a good tree, come to Agitech Seedlings. We are in Motivi, Mwea, Kirinyaga County, where we grow all fruit trees that grow in tropical Africa. You'll be sorted as far as your fruit seedlings are concerned. We have bananas, we have fodder crops, we have ornamental flowers, and we have medicinal trees. Like we have purunas, which is becoming extinct. It is also, in our dialect, it is called moiri. We have mudhiga tree, which is very flamboyant, very highly medicinal, and it is also becoming extinct. We have many medicinal trees. Come and pick one, plant in your compound, you thank me later.
A quick one, if I came and bought one, is there a follow-up for me as the customer who bought it and I planted it? Is there a follow-up just seeing how the tree is going on? Any questions?
At Agitech, we have a database for all those people who have bought from us. So time and again, I will always ask you, how are your fruits faring on? And if they have questions, we have our local agronomists situated in all the 47 counties. So they will get all the information they need. They will get all this agronomic support that they require.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mwalimu. It was a beautiful class.
Thank you.
I hope we'll be washing this.
This we shall wash.
What is the name of it again?
This is Washington Navel.
Washington Navel.
Yes, and I will share it with my sister.
Where does it come from? Why the name?
It comes from Great Britain.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching Agri Talk. This is a morning cafe. We'll always make sure that you get the right and most profound insights from experts all around the country so that you can become a better farmer. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyaringita. Till next week.